Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about graphing, but this time we're going to be talking about graphing using slope-intercept form. So we touched on slope-intercept form last year, but we're going to get back into it just so we give us a little bit of a review. So in words, a linear equation of the form y equals mx plus b is written in slope-intercept form, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. B is the y-intercept of the equation's graph. So our m is our slope, and our b is our y-intercept. So the m, or the slope, always comes before the x. The b is a constant, something that is just, it's not touching our letter, it's just out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to identify the slope and the y-intercept of this equation. What I see is m and 3 are lined up. They're both in front of the x. So my m, or my slope, is 3. And the b, then, is lined up with the 4. So b equals 4. Now this one has 3x plus y equals 2. Our slope-intercept starts with y equals mx plus b. So this one we need to get y all by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3x to get my 3x over to the other side and y by itself. Now I have y equals, I can't combine 3x and 2 because one has an x and one doesn't, so it'll be negative 3x plus 2. Now we said the m always comes before the x. So if the m comes before the x, that's our negative 3. So our m, our slope, is negative 3. And our b, then, is negative 2. Our y-intercept, or not negative 2, sorry, positive 2. Again, we're going to have to solve for y. So I'm going to subtract x. So we'll get 4y equals negative x plus 6. Now to solve for y, I need to divide by 4. Those cancel. We get y equals a negative 1 over 4x plus 6 over 4. So y equals negative 1 over 4x, and we can simplify 6 over 4. If we divide both by 2, we get 3 over 2. So again, our m comes before the x, so it's negative 1/4. And our b is what's left, which is positive 3 over 2, or 1.5. Next problem, we're going to move the 3x over to the other side. So we get a negative 3y equals negative 3x plus 12. Divide by negative 3. We divide everything by negative 3. So we get y equals a positive 1x. Two negatives make a positive. Plus 12 divided by negative 3, which we get 4. So our m comes before the x, which is 1, and our b is the y-intercept, which is 4. Alright, now it says identify the slope and the y-intercept, then graph the equation. Well, we have y equals mx plus b. our m comes before the x, so that's 2. And our b is what's left, which is 4. So we know the y-intercept, so we know the y-intercept is going to stay on the y-axis. So we can start by going 1, 2, 3, 4. Our b we can think of as the place to begin. And then the m is how we move. So if we have 2, our slope is given as rise over run, with the rise going up or down, and the run going left or right. If we have 2, we actually have 2 over 1. So we're rising 2 and moving over 1. Now the opposite of that would be to go -2 and -1. So going down 2 over to the left 1. Down 2 to the left 1. So now we can create our line. So there is our equation. Here we're trying to get y equals mx plus b. So, but I don't see any x's. So I'm still going to have to get y by itself, so I'm going to still divide by -4. So y equals -4. So it looks like our m, since we don't have one, is 0. And our b is -4. Well, we know our b is our y-intercept, so we can go down to -1, -2, -3, -4 on the y-axis. And since our slope isn't moving anywhere at all, or isn't going up or down, we know it's just a straight line. Here we have y equals 5/3 x. Y equals mx plus b. Our m comes before the x, so it's 5/3. And our b usually comes right here, but we don't have anything here, so our b is 0. So our line is going to go through 0, or the origin. So that's where we begin. We begin right there at the origin. Then we're going to go up 5, rise 5, to the right 3. Up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to the right 1, 2, 3. The opposite of that would be to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and to the left 3, 1, 2, 3. So if we connect those, we get our line. This problem over here is not in y equals mx plus b form, so we need to get it there by adding 6x to move it to the other side. So we get -4y equals 6x plus 8. Divide by -4. And we get y equals, now I can't divide 6 by -4, but I can simplify it to 3 over -2x. And plus 8 divided by -4 would be a -2. So our m would be negative 3 over 2x, and our b would be negative 2. So we're going to begin at b, or negative 2. Begin right here. Now we're going to go down 3 and over 2. So down 1, 2, 3, and over 2. Opposite of that would be to go up 1, 2, 3, and to the left 2. So we can draw our line. And we can move on. This one says identify the slope and y-intercept and graph the equation. So we're just going to do this one more time. Here we have a negative x. We know that if we just have an x or a x by itself or a letter by itself, we can put a 1 there. So our m comes before the x, so we get negative 1. And our b is what's left, which is 5. So we're going to begin at 5. We'll begin at our y-intercept, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then our slope is negative 1 over 1. So we're going down 1 and over to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. Opposite of that would be up 1 to the left. Up 1 to the left. Alright, now we're going to jump into something different. What do you guys notice about these lines? These lines, like the one on this building, like this line, and this line, or maybe one on these stairs, like this line, maybe the power lines, the railroad tracks, these trees. They're all lines, but they're never going to touch. So these lines are always next to each other, but they're never touching. What that's called are parallel lines. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Hold on. P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L, parallel lines. So we're going to talk about parallel lines for a few minutes here. So two non-vertical lines with the same slope are parallel. Determine which of these lines are parallel. Find the slope of each line. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the slope of line A, which is right here. We're going to go from here to here, and we're going to do the rise over the run to find the slope. Now our rise here is up 1, and our run is over 1, 2, 3. So our slope is 1 over 3. Our second line, line B, starts here and goes to here. This line is going up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our line B then is 2 over 5. And finally line C goes here to here. So we're going up 1, 2, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our line C is 2 over 6. But I can simplify this down by dividing each by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now look, I have 1 over 3 here and 1 over 3 here, which means that line A and line C are parallel. So I can write that A and C are parallel. Now we have to tell whether the graphs of these two equations are parallel lines. Explain your reasoning. Well, if I am looking at my first equation, I see that y equals negative 0.5x. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to find the m and the b, or actually I just need the m because I'm looking for the same slope. So my m for this equation is whatever comes before the x, so it's negative 0.5. Here I'm going to need to solve for y. So I'm going to need to subtract x on both sides. So we get 2y equals negative 1x plus 18. Divide by 2 to get y by itself. Get y equals negative 1/2 x plus 9. Now, I'm looking for the m. My m says I have a negative 1/2. Now that can be written as a fraction or as a decimal as negative 0.5. Now remember, parallel lines have the same slope. These two have the same slope, so these two lines must be parallel. So if we take a look at these, we're going to have to get y by itself again. So we subtract 4x. So we'll get y equals negative 4x plus 3. So I know then my m is negative 4. Here we have to subtract x from both sides. And we get 4y equals negative x plus 3. Divide by 4. Y equals negative 1/4 x plus 3/4. And our slope is negative 1/4. Now these two are not parallel because they are not the same. Alright, that's it for today.